Good evening, everybody. Thank you for tuning in. Begin to share with your followers as we get started. I do apologize for those that are listening on other platforms. I do apologize that I was muted. But begin to share, share, share. We're going to get started in just a moment. This is a GOOOO production. I know you're caught about, but don't throw in the towel. Don't give up on yourself. It's too late in the hour. You gotta keep moving. You gotta keep pushing. You gotta keep walking. Don't gotta keep running. Don't give up. Don't you give up. No, it's not given to the swift or strong, but you gotta endure. Got to endure. Don't give up. Don't give up. The race is not given to the swift or strong, but you gotta endure. Don't be led by your senses, what you hear, see, or feel. With a fixed determination, your dreams will reveal. And no more negative thoughts about yourself. Envision positive images. Don't give up. Don't give up. Don't give up. You gotta keep holding on. Don't give up to the swift or strong, but you gotta endure. Don't give up. Don't give up. Don't give up. The race is not given. The race is not given to the swift or strong, but you gotta endure. You gotta be. Good evening, everyone. Thank you for tuning in to the Something to Think About broadcast. I am your host, Apostle Aaron Randall. I am also known as Ace in the business world. You are tuning in to the PHWD Challenge Room, which stands for Purpose, Health, and Wealth Decade Challenge, which the objective is to pursue after purpose, health, and wealth over the next decade, which is going to shift the trajectory of your entire life. And not only your life, but it's going to shift it for generations to come. And so we are in our fourth installment of this series. And we're going to kind of dive on into some great things tonight. But as you come in the room, I see you guys are coming in on Facebook. I also see on different Facebook pages. I also see you on YouTube, on Instagram as well. Please post your comments, greet me, let me know that you are in the room. Begin to share with your followers. The music, I do not own the rights to the music, but I do have permission to use the music of the song by Latrice Pace, and the song is entitled "Don't Give Up." It's very fitting for this challenge, and it's become the theme song for this challenge. To not give up, to not throw in the towel. You know, it's a challenge for a reason. It's not meant to be easy, and so you know, we don't. I don't want you to give up in your process. Give up while you are in your momentum and you're thrusting forward. But just begin to keep persevering, and you're going to see. You're gonna see the finish line. You're gonna see the end goal. So, before I get to dive into some things, I want to just say thank you all for tuning in to the room. Again, please share with your followers. Again, this challenge is something that was given to me back, I would say, back in January of 2020, right before the pandemic really hit, before all the shutdowns and all the announcements about COVID-19. And unbeknownst to me, I didn't know that we were going to they were going to get hit with a challenge in our physical bodies and all that. And this is something that he had given me as a challenge, that everything we was being hit in was our purpose, health, and wealth, and during this pandemic. And so God had me to do this as a motivator, to challenge you to not give up and to go after it with a vengeance, that there is so much favor and access and connections to be made during the midst of this pandemic seasons for the last few years. And you have the ability
to accomplish some things because the world is turned over on its head. There's so many much accesses. Millionaires are being made in the midst of this. People are building things in cryptocurrency and the metaverse and all that great stuff. And it is literally shifting our trajectory. So it's all about a mindset. It's all about what you decide to do in the midst of chaos, in the midst of what is happening in the earth in that regard. And there's a lot of people that has really shifted in the midst of this. And so some of you might have gotten gripped by fear, what was happening in the world, and might have been scared. But here's the thing, you can start now. You can start right now. Begin to make the shifts, begin to make the changes in your life right now. You can still go after it. Go after your purpose. Go after your health. Go after your wealth. Go after those things and begin to shift the trajectory of your life right now. Excuse me. So as we get started, I just want to say thank you again for tuning in tonight. Again, this is our fourth installment. We are on live on Clubhouse. We are on YouTube, on Facebook, and on Twitter. And so all of those different mediums, please share, and begin to invite people into the room. And so that we can get really in depth in the conversation of what we're talking about your purpose, your health, and your wealth. So, just to reintroduce yourself to a lot of people that don't know me, I am an entrepreneur. I'm also an apostolic prophetic leader in ministry as well. Kingdom Culture International is my itinerant ministry that I do a lot of missions and other type of works through in that regard. I also mentor and cover people and things of that sort. So, I have my hands in a lot of things. So I'm always, making a conscious effort to push through after my purpose in God and in life. And so I see Dr. Nefertina is on. Thank you so much. I see my spiritual father on. Bishop Scales is on. Thank you so much, sir, for coming on and supporting. And so, my purpose in life is literally to push people into their purpose. It's literally to push people into their destiny and whatever that consists of in that regard. And so the reason for this is it's a part of my assignment in that regard. It is a part of my purpose to help you to identify what those things are that you meant to be and meant to accomplish in the earth, and how to bring them out, how to bring them to the forefront, how to begin to make the shift into those things. And the first place it starts is in the mind, but we're going to put a pin in that. We're going to come back to that later. I also want to just share as well, one of my passions and purpose. A part of my purpose as well is mission work. Some of you all that know me personally know that that God has given me assignments, some with partnerships and some without, to go overseas and to do a work in different countries overseas. And so as you see on your screen, you see that there is an image of there that shows you the purpose work that I have to do over in the nations. And so I'm looking for people to be able to partner with me to be able to execute this vision, execute the purpose of God over my life, and to just to continue on in that trajectory. And so I have 3 missions trips. Actually, it's 5 countries, not 4. So there's a typo there. And so I'm looking, I have to raise about $8,000. And that's actually really not enough, but I know how to stretch that and make it work to do what I need to do. But just looking for people to partner with me to be able to execute this vision. If you are not familiar with going overseas and going to nations and doing work for God, it is not something that is free. You literally have to pay for just about everything. And so you partnering with me is going to help me to be able to execute that. So if you're interested in learning more about that, feel free to look at more of the images that is on my ministry page under Apostle Aaron Randall, or look on my Instagram and you can look through the photos. You can see a lot of the works that has been done in times past in Kenya and Uganda and some other countries as well. And just partner with me to be able to execute this plan and this purpose in that regard. So there's no seed that's too large or too small, but anything that you do helps to accomplish this mission effort that is scheduled for me for this year. Now, I've not been able to go in the last, I'm at about 2.5, almost 3 years. And so I am overdue. And so I think that's why God is opening up doors for me to go to as many countries this time around than I have before, because there's such a great work to be done. And so definitely would love your support, and as well as your prayers in executing this mission and this purpose. All right, so let's kind of get into what we're talking about today about purpose, health, and wealth. And just to kind of recap for some of you all that are new to this live into this room, no worries, you can go back and watch a lot of the replays. All the replays are available on YouTube as well as here on the individual platforms that you are on, be it Twitter, YouTube, Facebook, as well as Clubhouse. And so what we've talked about before was we were starting with establishing a plan. What is the plan towards the Purpose, Health, and Wealth Decade Challenge, which starts with identifying what your purpose is. You know, what is your purpose? What's your passions? What are the things that you would do even if you're not getting paid? Your purpose is not always tied to wealth. It's not always tied to a monetary gain or financial gain. So identifying what those purposes are, what is those things that's in you that you can do hours on end and it doesn't feel like work, hours on end that you're not worried about the clock or worried about money, and or you'll be willing to make a sacrifice. So when you saw that I put up about the missions trip in that regard, then you saw that's a part of my passion, and that's not something that I get back. Monies of that sort does not come back to me in that regard. It's literally a seed being poured out. So that's what I would call your purpose projects, or what some what do you call it, marketing, the not a get rich quick scheme, but like the network marketing companies will call your passion projects. What are those different projects that you would do that you would invest in to see people's lives change without you getting anything back in return? So identifying what that is. Health wise, identifying what are your health goals, what are your underlying health conditions, what are, or diagnoses, what are generational health issues that has been connected to your bloodline in that regard for years and generations. So identifying what those things are, so that that could be a part of your goal to tackle in this challenge. So again, purpose, identifying those things as your purpose, your passions, things that's not always connected to wealth, but it's something that is a burden in you, something that you're passionate about, strongly passionate about. Then your health goals. So what is your current medical diagnoses? What is your family bloodline, generational health issues? And what are your health goals? What are you looking to do? Are you trying to lose weight? Are you trying to be more fit? Are you trying to, boost your energy? Whatever, in that regard. So begin to identify what those things are. So that's on the health side. And then on the wealth side, what are those different things that's connected to wealth, streams of income? What is your goal salaries? What is your goal profit margins? Things of that sort. And, what do you see yourself being or accomplishing within a certain amount of years, and being able to establish goals over this next decade of what you're trying to build, accomplish, and execute on the wealth side. Then the last two things that I gave as an assignment was, want you to assess your time and assess your money. On the time side, I gave instruction to look at your time over 7 days, just 7 days, and look and write down everything that you do throughout the entire day, morning, noon, and night, or what have you. Even if you get up in the middle of the night and that's a routine for you, write this stuff down, or what have you. And so in essence, what you're doing is you are writing these things down so that you can determine where you can pivot in your time, because a lot of us say, I don't have enough time. I don't have enough time. I don't have enough time, to get everything done. Or I'm too busy. And then you might find out that you spend, 10 hours a week on Clubhouse or on Facebook or scrolling through social media or watching YouTube videos or watching TV or whatever that is taking up your time. That's taking up more of your time, and before you know it, you doze off, fell asleep, and you go back into the same cycle again the next day, and you have not allocated any time towards anything that's purpose driven, health driven, or wealth driven. And so assessing your time is very essential. And then learning time management and learning how to multitask in your time is really going to be essential for you to be able to capitalize on your time. And so how do you do that? I gave it as an example for myself. I said sometimes I can be here on Clubhouse or ministering or what have you, and might not be the one up talking, but I could be multitasking, working and doing multiple things at the same time. And then I'll pause that when I need to say something, and I say what I need to say, and then go right back to working in that regard, because I want to capitalize on every moment, every hour of my day. As the word of God says, let me count the days that I might apply wisdom. How do I do that? By literally looking at my time and beginning to assess my time and begin to make sure that I'm taking advantage of every hour and every day of what I have, because time is of the essence. And this body is owed to death, and so we want to make sure that we are capitalizing on our time. Then the last thing that I gave as an instruction, just a part of the recap for those of you that are coming in the room, the last thing that I gave as an instruction was to assess your money. Look at your money over the last 30 days and look to see where your spending is. A lot of people are using credit cards and debit cards more than they carry cash. So, look at your swipes. How often are you swiping? What is the money going towards? Look at the itemized things on your receipts and see what you spending stuff on in that regard, your shopping list and all that, and begin to see, do I really need that? Is that something that I really want? Is this something that's unhealthy for me? And begin to pivot. And you might find out you might have an extra $100, $200, $500, $1,000 that's coming in a monthly or more that you might have accessibility to, that you're just spending frivolously on. And so, as I said, the last few weeks, if you start doing that now, you have to keep in mind that that same mentality transfers over when you come into a place of wealth. That same mindset continues over to continues over when you're dealing with having access, because now you have more access to money, and then now you're buying up things that you still know that you can't afford, whether you're broke or have money. And now you're back at that same mindset of struggle, that you're robbing Peter to pay Paul. You're struggling to pay your mortgage. You're on the verge of losing everything because you bought something that was over your ability to maintain, and not only maintain, but have enough money to either multiply or reinvest into something so that it can make money for you. And so these are some things that's really essential to building and gaining wealth. We're not talking about being rich. We're talking about wealth. We're talking about, if you read the book and you read the book, which you're going to talk about a few things out of that book tonight. The book that's a part of the book club that we're doing with this challenge is called The Secrets of a Millionaire Mind. And that book is, deals with mindsets. And if you hear and you've noticed that everything that I'm telling you about with these assignments and these things that I'm giving you to do on your personal time, I don't want you to come on here and tell us all your business, but the objective of that is to be able to take these wisdom nuggets and begin to move in them on yourself, so that you are able to take advantage of these things that is going to help you in your progress to get to where you're trying to get to in your purpose, in your health, and in your wealth. And if you don't exercise the knowledge or the wisdom that you have, then you're going to find yourself constantly in the same cycle over and over and over again. There is a author that coined this phrase that actually one of my mom's best friends used to say it before she passed away. Quite often, she said, if you do what you always done, you get what you always got. The definition of insanity is to do the same thing and expect a different result. You got to begin to pivot. You got to begin to shift. You got to begin to change in that regard. You got to begin to make the strides to do something different, And that's where it's going. Where when you start doing something different, then that's when you're going to start to see your life start to pivot. You're going to begin to see your life start to shift in a lot more positive ways, a lot more productive ways, and you're going to begin to see these things shifting in your life in that regard. So these are real. This is going to be really essential to your progress, is changing your mindset. One of my coverings, Apostle Tori, used to say to me all the time, "You need to change your mindset. You need to change your mindset." And I'm like, "What are you talking about?" I have changed my mindset, but the mindset that I had was a religious, spoiled brat, entitled mindset, that I thought that I could just decree a thing and it shall be, that God promised me something and I'm just sitting waiting on the Lord and waiting for it to manifest into my life, and what I didn't realize is that I was the problem. The reason why the things was not manifesting in my life is because I was not doing the work that I was supposed to be doing. Which segues me to what I talked about with you all last week, which was about the widow woman that was a debt that was owed, and they was getting ready to take her sons, put them to work to pay off this debt. And it just so happened to be Elisha just comes into town. He tells the woman, what do you have? She tells what she has. He tells her, go and borrow vessels. She goes and borrow as many vessels as she could possibly get. She brings them in. He tells her, give her instructions. She begins to pour the oil. It begins to go into the pots, and it did not stop until every vat and vessel was full. And then he gave her instruction to become an entrepreneur. And he said, take the oil, go into the market and sell it and pay off your debt. And the rest that you have, live off of that. And so the significant thing to that was what I talked about last week, was not the fact that he made her an entrepreneur, was not the fact that she wanted to go borrow pots, was not the fact that that the oil kept pouring and until she finished filling up the pots. The significant part to this was she had a little oil. She had something. And I talked about this last week, that little becomes much in the master's hands. Little. That means that there is already something that's there in a smaller measurement or in a smaller amount that he's able to take and make much. The significance to that is that he asked her, what did she have? And she had something in her possession that was able to be multiplied. So again, 1,000,000 times zero is still going to be zero. 1,000 times a zero, 101 times zero is still going to be zero, because you are not bringing anything to the table to be multiplied. So this is what we talked about last week, about you working what is in your hands, working what's in your grasp, looking at those different talents that you have, and those different gifts, and those hidden gifts in earthen vessels, and the treasures that's hidden in earthen vessels. What are those things that you have that you can take an initiative to begin to grow and to begin to multiply those things to the level of your ability, taking initiative, just like with the talents. He gave one 5, he gave one 2, he gave one 1. And the significant thing that we never really paid attention to is that all three of them, even though one was stupid and buried it, but they all took an initiative without coming back to the master and asked him, or her of sorts, what do you want me to do with this? What is it that you want me to do with this? That's not what was brought back to the master. That they went out and did something with what they had in their possession. And so my point is that you have to utilize what's in your possession and multiply as much as you can with what you have. And then the Lord will look at what you have already done and say, okay, you've been faithful over a few things. You utilize what's in your possession. Now I can make much with it. And so this is a part that's really significant to your progress, to your momentum of pursuing after your purpose, your health, and your wealth, is because you have to utilize what's in your possession, and God will blow upon it and make it much. But you got to be faithful over what you have, or what You know, you got to begin to work the word. You got to begin to work your gifts and work your talents. Build it to the level that you can build it, and it doesn't mean you're going to do it in your own strength. God strength is going to be made perfect in you, but you got to still take an initiative and begin to work what it is that is in your hands. He's shown you. He's given you giving you a measure of gift and talent. He's shown you the end goal and the end objective. So you got to begin to start writing the vision and making it plain, and begin to work that vision. And as you begin to move, then that's when direction comes. I told you guys about this in another room that I did. Of putting legs to your vision. That the beginning objective and the end goal is the vision. The vision is how you is where you start, and the vision is the end goal and where you end up. But in between that, you have God that is the GPS system. He is your direction. He knows the path that you should take. He leads you and guides you in all truth. He knows the way that you should take. He knows the end before the beginning. He knows. And so you receive the vision, you put the vision back in him, and he began, and that is essentially the destination that you will put in your GPS system. And as you begin to get up, put on your clothes, wash your tail, put on your clothes, grab your keys, go down to your car, open up the garage, back the car out of the garage, in reverse. Then turn the car into the street, close your garage door. But as soon as you begin to put that car into drive, and you begin to move forward, is when the GPS begins to give you instruction. It begins to tell you where to go, how far to go, where to turn, where to even pivot or shift, or to reroute when you get out of the wrong direction. When there is traffic, when there is an accident or whatever, it will alert you and let you know, nope, get off here. Or you're in 5 miles, you're gonna make a left. It's gonna give you instruction. And so this is really essential to make sure that God is first and involved in everything that you do, but you realize that he is the one that's going to be directional for you. But again, you still got to work what's in your possession, what's in your hand, what it is that God is trying to do through you. And you got to begin to work those things. You got to begin to move in those things. You got to begin to shift in the direction of where you are supposed to be headed. Now, if you're having struggle with that, again, it starts in your mind. It starts in your mind. It starts in you making the proper moves and proper direction for your life. And if you don't make the moves, you don't begin to pivot and to shift, again, you do what you always done and you get what you always got. So let me see here. So as I mentioned earlier, we are doing, along with this PHWD challenge, we're doing a book club with this as well. And the book club is starting with the book, The Secrets of a Millionaire Mind. And it doesn't have chapters per se. It just has different parts. And part one talks about your money blueprint. And before we even get into the depth about the money blueprint, it says this part is in the very first few pages of this particular part of the book. And it says, so who are you and how do you think? What is your beliefs? What are your habits and traits? How do you really feel about yourself? How confident are you in yourself? How well do you relate to others, and how much do you trust others? Before I continue on, again, we're talking about mindsets, right? So that before you can even get into a millionaire mind, you got to start here. So who are you? How do you think? What is your beliefs? What is your habits and traits? How do you really feel about yourself? How confident are you in yourself? How well do you relate to others, and how much do you trust other people? If you have struggle in these things, it's going to literally be a part of your downfall and having a millionaire mind, or even pursuing after your purpose, health, and wealth. So these are essential. So again, ask yourself the question: who are you, or do you know who you are? You know, identifying with who that is. How do you think? What is your way of mind? Do you think? Are you jaded? Are you negative? Do you filter the truth through the lie? Do you always feel like somebody's out to get you? Are you always waiting for the other shoe to drop? Do you say speak well of what you want to do, but then you always getting ready to do something, but you're never not doing it? How do you think? Do you have this spoiled brat entitled mentality like I did, thinking that I could just decree and declare something and then it's going to manifest? Is that how you think? Is that how you move? Is that how you operate? Again, it also says, what is your beliefs? What is your belief structure? Not only spiritual beliefs, but what do you believe about yourself? Do you believe that you can accomplish something great? Do you believe that your life is worth more? Do you believe that you actually are suffering the fate of your, a fate based on poor decisions that you made, and you feel that this is what your life is due? What is your beliefs? Be it spiritual or natural, or in yourself or in others. What is your beliefs? What are your habits and traits? Now, this is very, very important, because if you have poor habits and poor traits of being lazy, procrastinating, not really going after what it is that you really want to do, self-sabotage, and things of that sort, identifying those things, that's going to really be a hindrance to who you are. How do you feel about yourself? Do you have low self-esteem? Do you think that you're not worthy? Do you think that you're too worthy? Do you have a lot of pride and arrogance? There's a lot of things that can really cause cause you to think and move in the way that you do, based on how you feel about yourself. How confident are in yourself? Do you not have enough confidence? Do you have no confidence at all? Do you not have enough confidence? Do you have are you right in the middle, and you're balanced in your confidence, or do you have too much confidence? You're cocky and you just think you're all that. Where are you in your confidence level? And how well do you relate to others? Do you get along with others? Do you only get along with others for a certain period of time, and then you feel like you're waiting for the other shoe to drop, or you go get them before they get you? Or what is your mindset when it comes down to others? How you think about others or relate to others, and how much do you trust others? Do you have trust issues when it comes down to other people? Do you feel like they always out to get you, or people got a hidden agenda in that regard? How do you feel about others? Because if when you think of these questions that I just asked you, these things are going to be really essential in you, and either the door opener for you for where you're doing in your life and in your purpose and in your health, or it's going to be a detriment to where you are trying to be. So for those of you that are just coming into the room, I am talking about from the first part of from the book, The Secrets of a Millionaire Mind. This is actually one of the books that's in the book club in this PHWD challenge room that we are going to be focusing on. So feel free to download that book online, or listen to the audio book on YouTube. It is available on YouTube. It is an excellent read, and there's a lot of fundamental things that is going to be great, and that's essential to you in your progress of pursuing after your purpose, health, and wealth. And so, again, we're talking about the secrets of the millionaire mind, because if you don't deal with your mind first, it's not going to manifest in the natural the way you need it to be, or it might not manifest at all. So I just read over for you, Apostle Q, just to recap with you, because you coming in the room. We were talking about some different questions I asked that's in the first part of the book, which will be considered like chapter 1, but it's not in chapters, it's in parts. And it says your money blueprint. And before we dive into the money blueprint, it asks these series of questions. So who are you? How do you think? What is your beliefs? What is your habits and traits? How do you really feel about yourself? What how confident are you in yourself? How well do you relate to others? And how much do you trust others? And this is really essential, again, to your process of pursuing after purpose, health, and wealth. And if you are again, a self-sabotager, if you waiting for the other shoe to drop, or you're a procrastinator, or you're overly confident, you're cocky, you know, you're arrogant in that regard, and you don't have a teachable spirit, or you know, you don't trust people, or you too trusting that you're blinded, that you don't even see the wolves in sheep clothing. It's like you got to find a balance. It doesn't mean that you got to be ignorant and stupid and be so optimistic about everything, but you got to find a balance and understanding all these essential things in your life, but identifying these things that could be a hindrance to who you are and your purpose in that regard. So let me just go ahead and reset the room really quick for those that are listening on YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, and Clubhouse. Again, this is the PHWD Challenge Room, connected to Something to Think About broadcast. And again, I'm Apostle Aaron Randall, known as Ace in the business world. And again, we're talking about the PHWD Challenge, which is to pursue after your purpose, health, and wealth over the next decade, which will shift the trajectory of your entire life. And so at this particular point, as I mentioned, we're reading portions from the first part of the book, Secrets of a Millionaire Mind. And so I'm not going to go any further in depth than that. I'm going to encourage you to continue to read the book, but we're going to really kind of dive in these questions. And I'm going to use myself as a guinea pig so that you feel comfortable, or just to spark you in some things to think about yourself. Because sometimes, you know, when you hear somebody else admit theirs, be it good, bad, or indifferent, that might give you the motivation to look within and to begin to make those moves and those shifts within yourself. So who am I? Well, that's a lot to really kind of unpack, what have you. I know that, I'm a person that I know that, one, I'm a believer, and then again, who am I, and what I believe and how I operate and all that stuff, for me, encompasses everything of the sum total makeup who I am. I'm a loving, giving type of individual. I do love hard. But when you cross me, I ain't gonna lie. I will block people in 2.5 seconds. But I'm a genuine individual. That's the way God created me. I also got that from my mother in that regard, because we are two loving and friendly individuals. The Word of God says that he who is friendly has friends, and we can both say, that, well, I've learned through seeing her that, being friendly opens doors and connections. And so I'll just pin that on the who am I. I'm a person that's, driven and purpose focused and loves God and want to be the best that I'm destined to be in God. How do I think? How do I think now? I'm always thinking about advancing. I'm always thinking about growth. I'm always thinking about imparting and impacting other people's lives. I'm thinking about living as an example. I'm coming into understanding of thinking about what God thinks about me, and to be and have accepted that and embraced that and then moved in that. What is my beliefs? I believe that Jesus Christ is my Lord and Savior. He's risen from the dead, and all the logistics of that. I am very strong in my beliefs of who God is in my life. I believe that I am nothing without Him, and I can do all things through Him and with Him, because He can do the impossible. I believe that I'm a prophet, king, and priest. I'm coming into my king priestly purpose and anointing. I believe that I am beautifully, wonderfully made. I could go through many scriptures that line up to what my beliefs are. So you get the sum total of that. What are my habits and traits based on the parts that we're reading in this book? I have my poor habits before, and they have pivoted. But some of my poor habits have been that I have gotten into like a procrastinated state, not as been as driven or focused, and have focus moments, or been inconsistent. That used to be my problem. Now that has shifted. Um, a lot of things that have shifted that perspective is people, family, friends, seeing other people's examples, hearing other people's testimonies, seeing what they're doing, and looking at that as examples, and that has shifted a lot of my bad habits, or what have you, especially centered around purpose and centered around entrepreneurship in that regard. And to seeing it through to the finish, even if it turns out to not be exactly the way I want it to be, but seeing it through to the finish. That is a part of my habits, and that is a part of my traits that I do that are positive in that regard. Do I have moments when where fear and trepidation kicks in? Absolutely. Those are some things that I fight. I won't say every day, because it's not every day that I'm fearful, but I do have moments when challenges arise, and then fear kicks in, or trepidation kicks in, and God always comes through. But those are things that I fight every now and again when warfare and challenges come up, because that's something that happens that it's almost like we totally forget that God just did it yesterday or last week or 6 months ago or a year ago or 10 years ago. We totally forget, and that's something that I try to kill as often as possible when it comes up. But trying to not trying to. That's another thing that is a habit and a trait. My language, saying words like trying to and getting ready to, or I'm about to, or versus or God is getting ready to, or versus it's already done. I am doing it. I am accomplishing it. I am making moves in it, versus I'm getting ready to, or I'm trying to. The language and verbiage is very, very important, because what you speak manifests. And if you keep saying I'm tired, or I'm sick, or I'm broke, or I'm upset with this and this and whatever, I'm tired of this being this way, and I'm sick of that, and this sick of it, that stuff manifests. So changing your language is something that is essential, but it's something that I also work on within myself. I try to be more conscious of what it is that I say. Again, I just said the word trying, because that's the word that I want to kill. I'm being more conscious of the words that I speak. Instead of saying something, I'm doing it, and I'm making the conscious effort to not do it. So that's important. How do I really feel about myself? Right? How do I feel about myself current right now? That I'm not at my fullest potential, but I'm well on my way. I'm more closer to it than I've ever been in history of life. In 42 years of my life, I'm more closer to it now than I've ever been, and I feel more confident and secure in myself than I've ever been. I don't have a lot of low self-esteem about myself, or even care about what other people say about me, because people have been talking about me ever since before I was born. So uh, so so I don't believe the lies. I don't believe the things that people spoken or said, or think that they know about me, and have not taken the time to even get to know me, in that regard. And so I know what I've been through. I know how much I've suffered. I know how long it took me to get to this place in my life. And I'm secure in that. I am solid in that. And I know that I'm well on my way to be exactly the way God intended for me to be. And I'm grateful for that. So that's how I feel about myself in short. How confident am I in myself? I'm a lot more confident than I've ever been. ever in my life. I used to second guess. I used to question. I used to seek validation in men, meaning that I'm looking for somebody to just validate me and tell me that, or to be in agreement with what I'm doing, or sharing all of my secrets and sharing my world with everybody, and to get that validation and go ahead, bro, go ahead, man of God, that's God. Oh, yep, I see that. That's going to be great. That's going to be amazing. Oh, yeah, I hear God. Yep. What you said, that was all God. And that was something that I became codependent upon. Listening to others to have them to validate me, instead of believing the word of God, believing what God says I am, believing. So that in itself began to build confidence in me, because when I know who I am in him. But that took a process. So again, I'm answering these questions about myself so that you can understand how to answer these questions for yourself. So that's how confident I am in myself. I'm not arrogant or cocky. I'm confident, because even when you say that you don't believe that you don't know who I am, it doesn't matter, because I know what the Lord says that I am. I know what the word of God says. I know what countless prophetic words that God has spoken, his oracles through his servants, the prophets, concerning my life. And so when some naysayer or somebody comes negative to come opposing against the word, my body and my ears and everything and my whole Noah and my whole being rejects anything that is opposing, that is not what God said. And so so that within itself builds confidence. But then you also have to be careful, because there can be a fine line that you can overstep confidence, and it becomes arrogance, and it becomes pride, and it becomes, a whole list of other things in that regard. How do I feel? How do I relate with others? One of the things that I do try to do is have more relatability to people, to be able to sympathize and understand them, and build relationship with people. And even though we don't necessarily might not agree on everything, because it's not always about agreeing, but we can learn from one another even in our disagreements, and being able to you know have a teachable spirit, and just listen and hear where the person is coming from, instead of making my own preconceived notions or determinations of whatever it is that somebody is saying, but just having that relatability and say, okay, I can agree to disagree. I don't agree with that, but I understand where you're coming from, and it makes sense from your perspective, but I don't see it that way. And we were able to walk in peace and move forward. So I try to be more related. I try to have relatability with people. So again, that was the question: how do you relate with others, and how much do you trust others? Now, that's something that is a process that is building, only because relationships build. That's not something that is instantaneous. I don't necessarily look for the shoe to drop. I don't base my relationship with people based off of somebody else's relationship with a person. You might have fallen out with them. You might not be in agreement with them. You might not stand up for their belief structures or whatever, in that regard. However, I might get along with them well. We might shoot the breeze, and we might get along, and what they're talking about, it might not be a part of your belief structures, but there is a connection that needs to be made there, or there is some sort of reason for the connection. So I don't go in with a negative outlook on every relationship, because if you do, that is going to literally put a block or a wall up against every individual, and they're not going to see you as a person that is like, I got to tear down this wall just to get to you, or you're so protected, you're so guarded. Doesn't mean that you got to be ignorant. Doesn't mean that you got to be jaded, or so blocked off from reality that you just wait for everybody to do you like somebody else did. But you could be able to use natural and spiritual discernment, but still build relationship. And then you see where the signs change, you see where the signs shift, and you know how to pivot, and you know how to exit in that regard. But you don't always have to look at every relationship from that perspective. And so again, that's the question that was asked again in the book. The Secrets of the Millionaire Mind asks, how do you trust other people? And so so for those of you that are coming in, I'll just reset this room really quick. I am talking from the book, The Secrets of a Millionaire Mind, which is a part of the book club for the Purpose, Health, and Wealth Decade Challenge, which is the PHWD Challenge. And we're talking from part 1 of the book. And it's actually the very first page on part 1 of the book that says your money blueprint. And before you can even establish your money blueprint, you have to ask yourself these particular questions, because in order for you to even get to a millionaire mindset, or what have you, you have to deal with these things within yourself. And again, those questions were, who are you? What do you, how do you think? What are your beliefs? What are your habits and traits? How do you really feel about yourself? How confident are you in yourself? How well do you relate to others? And how much do you trust others? Now, I know I kind of said those kind of fast, so I'm going to say them again, and I'll repeat them twice so that you can write them down. And I want you to kind of do the self work for those that are listening now and listening to the replay. I want you to begin to do this self work, because this is a part of the process of your Purpose, Health, and Wealth Decade Challenge. We're trying to do the renewing of the mind right now. We're trying to shift your mindset, and these questions apply towards your purpose, your health, and your wealth. And if you are having issues or wavering in some of these, or what have you, then these are the things that you want to add to your list of things to be dealt with within yourself. But you have to begin to do the work. And if you don't do the work and you're expecting for somebody else to do the work for you, then you're never going to come to fulfillment. You're never going to come to who you're meant to be in purpose or in life. And so again, the first question was, who are you? Again, that question is, who are you? The second question is, how do you think? How do you think? The third question is, what are your beliefs? Not just talking about spiritual beliefs, but just beliefs from natural and spiritual. What are your beliefs? The fourth question is, what are your habits and traits? Again, what are your habits and traits? The fifth question is, how do you really feel about yourself? Let's say it again. How do you feel about yourself? The sixth question is, how confident are you in yourself? How confident are you in yourself? The seventh question is, how well do you relate to others? Again, how well do you relate to others? And the last question is, how much do you trust others? How much do you trust others? So, really quick recap. First question is, so who are you? The next question is, how do you think? The next one is, what are your beliefs? The next one is, what are your habits and traits? The next one is, how do you really feel about yourself? Next question is, how confident are you in yourself? The next one is, how well do you relate to others? And the last one is, how much do you trust others? Now, let me say this, because there's not a lot of people on Clubhouse, so I can't really ask a lot of questions and engage people in these things. But I want to let this be a moment of me testifying, so that you can get a better clarity and understand how this works for me. Because this is something, these questions are not the way I'm able to answer them. The reason why I'm able to answer them is because this is life work. This is something that has that I had to shift over years of my life, years. I used to think very low of myself. I used to didn't think I was smart and intelligent because I was an LD student growing up as a kid. I had learning disabilities. I had a speech class. I hated math. I hated doing homework, and it wasn't because I was slow or not smart. It's because I just didn't want to do the work. I didn't want to do the work. I hated homework. I had it. I had, and my mother, if she was on here, she'll tell you that she is caught. I mean, up until high school, I used to throw away my work. I would throw it away in the trash, and my mother found this some years later. Actually, I think maybe my last year of high school, and I could have actually burned the house down. That's how bad this was. I used to stash my homework behind the refrigerator. And back in the day, the refrigerator had the metal heated crate rails in the back, metal rails. They like did an S shape in the back of the refrigerator, and they get hot. And so it was paper connected to that hot. It could have started a fire. When I say the papers was piled up so high, they were literally all the way up to almost the top part of the back of the refrigerator in this little cubby where the refrigerator put in. And my mother told me one time when she found all those papers, she said, I should make you do all this homework and take it to all your teachers. And I think by the grace of God, she didn't. Thank you. Hallelujah. Thank you, Jesus. But the point that I'm making with that is that it wasn't that I was slow. It wasn't that I didn't want to apply, that I couldn't apply myself. It was just I hated homework, and I wanted to be the class clown. I wanted to be the jokester and all that. But when they told me my junior year of high school, they said to me, if you do not get your grades up now, because it looks like you're not going to have enough credits to graduate the next year, they said you're going to be back here. You're going to either have to do summer school or you will be back here for another full year. And that put a fire underneath me. I said, oh, absolutely not. Absolutely not. And I began to shift and change in my thought process. I went from getting, certain schools that you go to, you either get an F or you will get an E. And in the area where we were at, they gave you E's instead of F's. And so I either got C's, D's, and E's. That was like most of my report cards or what have you. But I began to make that shift, and before I knew it, I was getting A's, B's, and C's, and I was starting to ace things and begin to move things because there was a fire put underneath me. But these questions has been an ongoing process in my life that I had to pivot and shift, because if these things did not happen in my life, I wouldn't have the mindset that I have to answer these questions that I'm asking you to do the work for yourself. So I'm not a person that just just came into this. This is a life work process. You get what I mean? And so for those of you that's coming in the room, I'm going to repeat the questions again. I'm asking questions from the part one of the book entitled Secrets of a Millionaire Mind. And the questions are: who are you? How do you think? What are your beliefs? What are your habits and traits? How do you really feel about yourself? How confident are you in yourself? How well do you relate with others or relate to others? And how much do you trust others? And these are some things, again, as I said earlier, just a moment ago, that these are some things that has been a life's process for me, or what have you. I used to be a cursor and a fighter. That is something that has been generations in the bloodline of my family. And, you said anything off, you was getting ready to get punched in the face. And I had a spirit of anger in me that was strong. And one of my friends asked me a random question, and his intentions was pure, just asking. But it sent me into red. And he asked me, he said, "Are you bipolar?" And he said it in a nice way. He didn't say it being mean. He said, "Are you bipolar?" And he was in the medical industry. I was like, "Excuse me, what do you mean am I bipolar?" And I was getting ready to just go for the jugular. And he said, "See, that's what I'm saying." He said, "Because I asked you a question, you jumped from 0 to 1,000, and you're ready to curse me out and go off and all this. This is free me being in ministry." Well, actually, I was ordained in ministry, but I was, we all have our moments when we be on our own thing. Amen. So, but this some years ago, and he had asked me this, and I said, no, I'm not bipolar. He said, well, I asked because you go from 0 to 1,000 in a few seconds, and half the time you didn't even hear what I said. You just heard what you thought I said, and you thought I was saying something negative to you. And then all of a sudden you go from 0 to 1,000,000. Like, what is going on? And so I said, no, that's just not, not me. And it said, whatever, blah, blah, blah. But after he said that, I had to go home and do the work, which is what I'm asking you to do in these questions. I had to begin to look at myself to see what he was talking about. And I began to realize that sometimes what I heard wasn't what I heard, or what I read wasn't what I read. And sometimes I even have to do this within myself today, not as much as I used to. But every now and again, I find myself that I'll respond quicker than respond quicker than really analyze what I heard or what I read. And sometimes I would have misread a message, and I'll be rereading what I'm going to type before I send it. And then I'll go back and reread the person's message that they sent to me. And I realize that everything that I thought they said wasn't even that. I mean, and sometimes it is like not even what I read at all. Not even read at all. And so I'm like, oh, so now I'm more conscious to not react so quickly, but to think before I react, or listen and to take in what's being said and then respond, instead of just jumping to conclusions and thinking stuff that is negative than what it is. And it's probably not even that, And so this is some things that happen over time. Over time, people check in me like, you always going off, like, relax. And so I had to do the work within myself to identify these things. That's why the question is like, what is your habits? What do you believe? What do you feel? How do you feel about yourself? How confident are you in yourself? Because I had to look within myself to see these are the issues. And some of it is learned behavior, and some of it is just stuff that I take it on as my character traits when it's not even me. It's not even me. Now, don't get me wrong. We're still in the flow of the PHWD challenge, Purpose, Health, and Wealth challenge. But if you don't deal with the stuff that's within you first, then going after your purpose, health, and wealth, it is going to crumble, or you're not going to maintain it, or you're not going to be committed to it and complete it. So you got to start here. We identify what those goals are and what those issues are. We are looking at our time. We looked at our money, but now we're doing the inner work. Who are you? How do you think? What's your beliefs? What are your habits and traits? How do you feel about yourself? How confident are you in yourself? How do you relate to others? And how much do you trust others? Because this is going to be essential to your process. It's going to be essential to your process. And if you don't get these things in order, or to do the work within yourself, then again, you're going to find yourself in constant cycles. Constant cycles. So this is the assignment, because I give you guys assignments every week. What have you. Go back over what I said about the original assignment, which is, what's your purpose, finding out what those are, what are your health goals, what are your wealth goals, and then assessing your money, assessing your time. So go back and listen to the replay, and you'll hear about that, and do those. And these are not things that you're reporting back to me. This is for you doing the work for yourself. Because if you don't do the work in yourself, and you want somebody else to do the work for you, you're not going to get what you want to get. And then when somebody do the work for you, you can't dictate to them how to do it if you're not going to do it. Do the work yourself. And begin to, again, look at yourself and say, who am I? How do I think? What is my beliefs? What are my habits and traits? How do I feel about myself? How confident am I in myself? How well do I relate to other people? And how much do I trust others? Because if you always think that somebody's out to get you, You always think that somebody got a motive or an agenda. You always think that you're not good enough, or you're not qualified, or you're not anointed, or you're not strong enough. You ain't got enough money. You ain't got enough knowledge. You ain't got enough this. You ain't got enough that. And you know, then that is going to be the downfall to your progress. Now, here's the thing, because I feel this in the spirit. I feel this in the spirit. See, that's why I want to do it anyway. And so that's why I'm not making no moves. So now you feel like these questions and your answers is going to fuel you not making moves, to self-sabotage. Instead of saying, no, I'm not going to allow this to stop me anymore. I'm going to be progressive. I'm going to shift. I'm going to pivot. I'm going to do something different. I'm going to be motivated. I'm going to change, and I'm going to do something better for my life. But again, if you do what you always done, you get what you always got. And again, as I say this all the time, stop blaming the devil for the work that you refuse to do. Stop blaming God for the work that you refuse to do. It's not neither one of their fault. It's your fault. It's yours. That's the reason why you repent, is because you acknowledge that you are wrong and you turn from your wicked ways, not you repenting because the devil made me do it. No, you have to begin to do the work within the inside of you. You got to begin to do the work on the inside. And if you don't do the work on the inside, then you will not come to the fulfillment of your purpose. You will not get to your health goals, and you will not establish and create or build wealth. You won't. You won't. So again, I'm going to tell you these questions again to begin to do the work on the inside of yourself. The questions that I just gave are: who are you? How do you think? How do you, what are your beliefs? What is your habits and your traits? How do you really feel about yourself? How confident are you in yourself? How well do you relate to others? And how much do you trust others? Again, this is essential. You can't perform in ministry well. You can't perform your purpose. You can't build no business. You can't build friendships. You can't date and find your spouse if you don't deal with these things, or understand these things and deal with the negative things that's in it, or the overthinking of these things. Because sometimes you could be too much of something is still not good. Too much of a good thing is still not good. Not enough of a good thing is not good. That's why you got to find a balance. And that's what this PHWD challenge is going to do to you. Is going to help you bring balance to your life. Purpose, health, and wealth decade challenge is going to bring balance to your life. I also said this, and I see the man of God is coming into the room. So good to see you on, Prophet. Good to see you in the room. I said this before that. Goodness, I think I just lost my train of thought. But either way, this is a part of your process and in your journey. And again, you have to begin to do the work, and you got to begin to do this in you, or you again will not accomplish what you're meant to do and to be in life and in purpose. So again, I'm going to reread these questions so that you can begin to do the work and apply it to your life. Who are you? Question number 1. Question number 2 is, how do you think? Question number 3 is, what are your beliefs? Question number 4 is, what are your habits and traits? Number 5 is, how do you really feel about yourself? Number 6, how confident are you in yourself? Number 7, how well do you relate to others? And the last one is, how much do you trust others? Very, very, very essential. Very essential to your progress. Very essential to your purpose. Very, very essential. And so as you notice, My rooms is about pushing you into your purpose. Yeah, we're going to do the prayer and the prophesying and all of that great stuff. But there's a lot of rooms of that. There's a lot of people on Clubhouse and on Facebook and doing all that, and speaking prophetically into your lives. But who's giving you word of wisdom on how to execute these things? Who's motivating you to do the self work within yourself to identify these challenges of these things? Again, if you do what you've always done, you get what you've always got. So again, you got to shift your mindset. You got to shift your objective. You got to shift everything, because if it was, I'm in this book, he's going to say the reason why you're reading this book is because what you've done at this point has gotten you only so far. And if you were doing what you were doing was able to bring you millions, now this is my add on. If you were doing whatever you were doing to bring you millions, you will be wealthy right now. You will be full of purpose right now. Your health will be immaculate right now, but it's not. For a good majority of us, it's not. And then for some of us that are, fulfilling purpose or, building wealth or what have you, I'm sure there's new things and next other challenges and other objectives that you want to grow and accomplish and build and do in that regard. And so you got to begin to do the work in your mind here first. And when you begin to start at this level, when you begin to think from this perspective, so when you grow higher, you already know that there's going to be coming moments that you're going to have to do this work all over again, because it's going to be a pivot and a shift, and you're going to have to do this work again, because you can do the work, and it's like working out. You can work out for a good 6 months to a year, and then all of a sudden you taper off a little bit. You stop working out. You stop, doing, your regiments and your plan, and then all of a sudden you start packing on the pounds again. You start picking up a little weight because you stop with the consistency. Anybody that works out, unless they have a very, very high metabolism, that they can eat whatever they want and it falls off of them. But people that don't have that high metabolism know that they work out 7 days a week or 5 days a week or 4, 5, whatever. They're consistent on a regimen, and they change it up. They don't do the same workout every day. They don't just work out legs every day. You're going to have Incredible Hulk legs with olive oil body, but you got to begin to pivot and shift, and you alternate the plan, because your body will come accustomed to a routine and begin to plateau at that level. So you're going to begin to shift. So what am I saying is that at every stage of elevation or shift or pivot, you're going to have to ask yourself these questions again. Who am I? How do I think? What are my beliefs? What are my habits? And the list goes on, because some things are habit forming that happen through exposure of life. People that become drug addicts is not something they've been doing for their whole life. So these habits begin to come, or people that were eating healthy and whatever, that begin to taste something that gravitate to their appetite, and then all of a sudden they were introduced to it, that they try, and then all of a sudden they have an addiction for chocolate chip cookies. You get what I mean? Because they was exposed to it, and they begin to embrace that thing. So at different pivots and points and shifts in your life, you're going to have to ask yourself these questions to kind of see, did you shift? Did you pivot? Did you add new habits? Did you begin to self-sabotage? Did you begin to have low self-esteem about yourself? Do you have lack of faith and trust or trust for others? And the list goes on in the questions that I gave. So again, do the work. Begin to do the work. Begin to do the work. Again, we're talking about the PHWD challenge, but it's to be honest with you, I know it's capped at the terms purpose, health, and wealth decade challenge. And I said that the challenge is going to shift the trajectory of your entire life. Doing the work for these 3 areas is literally going to change everything about your entire makeup of who you are as an individual, how you move, how you operate, how you think, how you engage in conversations with people, how you, build new relationships, and the list goes on. And it's going to shift everything. So it's not just about getting money. It's not about, just being physically fit. It's not about just, finding your purpose in God or in life. It's bigger than that. It's bigger than that. But there's a first work that has to be done. And so just to reset the room for those of you that are coming in and that are listening, this is the Something to Think About broadcast, but you're in the room entitled the PHWD Challenge, which is the Purpose, Health, and Wealth Decade Challenge. And we're pursuing after our purpose, health, and wealth over the next decade to shift the trajectory of our entire life. And not only our life, but for generations to come. And so tonight, what we were talking about was from part one in the book, The Secrets of a Millionaire Mind. And this is actually the book that we're reading for the book club for this room. And so we are on the very first page of part one. It's not in chapters, it's in parts. So when you get the book, or you buy the book, download the book, or you can listen to the audio book on YouTube. It is available. It's about a 5 hour and 11-minute read or listen to on the audiobook on YouTube. Excellent, excellent, excellent read. And it's not talking about how to get millions. It's talking about a millionaire mind, how people that have a millionaire, that are millionaires, how they move and operate in the mind. And it deals with the poor mindset. It deals with the middle class mindset, and it deals with the wealth mindset. And it breaks down and explains from different perspectives of your mind. And we keep, for those that are spiritual, we're talking about the renewing of the mind. There is the reason for the renewing of the mind, because the old mind had fallacy, lies, and deception and sin and all that. But when your mind gets renewed, you begin to take on truth. You begin to take on his ways and not our ways. And it's the same concept. All of this is the same thing. We're breaking the mind of poverty off of your life, or breaking certain mindsets and how you move and operate. Because a lot of the things that share in this book is not just about having a millionaire mind. It's about having a positive and more effective mind in how you move and operate. And so you definitely want to get this book. I'm not patronizing this person or what have you. I just read the book about 2 months ago for myself, and I gravitated to it immediately. And not only listened to the audio book, but got the book as well, and begin to highlight chapters in the book because it's so rich, it's so good. It's going to really be a blessing to you. So no, I do not know this individual that wrote this book, but I'm saying we're going to be talking about different parts and different chapters in this book. And so again, I'm on the first page of part one. And at the bottom of the first page, you will see those list of questions that I read out to you. So feel free to download that so you can be ahead of the game with us and begin to read or listen to the audiobook. So as we're talking and engaging in, we're going to break down certain things in these chapters of this book and deal with different focus topics as well. Also for the PHWD challenge, there's going to be different people that's going to come in that are going to be focus topic speakers. That's going to be talking about different focuses or different topics. And there's also going to be different webinars that's going to come from this room as well. That is going to be paid events that you have to pay, but it's going to be classes and webinars and things of that sort that you are learning some things that's going to advance your life, like cryptocurrency, getting your credit in line, entrepreneurship, and the list goes on. People that deal in health and wellness and fitness and all that stuff. How to increase your wealth, how to understand your purpose and destiny, not only in the church, but in life, period. Again, as I said before, not everything about purpose is connected to money. So identifying and understanding what those things are, what those hidden gifts are, or those hidden talents is in earthen vessels, those hidden treasures in earthen vessels, identifying those things and begin to pull those things up so that you can begin to utilize them so that God can make them much in that regard. So there's going to be a lot coming out of this room. I know tonight is a light night. It's a lot of rooms going on Clubhouse, and it's a lot of people doing lives on Facebook right now. So it's not a lot of people in this room. So we're going to be ending this room shortly. But I do want to give Prophet an opportunity, since he's in here right now, to greet the people. And if you have anything that you want to share or add to the conversation, you are definitely welcome, my brother.
Thank you so much, sir. Thanks so much for the powerful points. Everything that you have shared is just so powerful. I don't have much to say. I don't have anything to say. I'm here to learn. I'm here to learn. So thank you so much. God bless you for the wisdom and the knowledge you keep pouring. Thank you so much.
Absolutely, my friend, and it's good to see you. I know it's been a while since we last spoken, but thank you so much for coming in and supporting the room. Also, for those of you that are on Facebook, on YouTube, hey, Apostle, I see you in the room. Thank you so much for putting those questions up there. You amazing. You know what? I love you so much. You always got my back, Apostle Tori. Love you, love you, love you, love you, love you so much. For those of you are on Facebook, matter of fact, I'm going to copy and paste it and put it on the screen on my StreamYard so that you all can see it on all the platforms, so that you can see the questions that was asked. Give me 1 second here. All right. So yes, I'm going to put this up as a banner. Not a banner, but banner, so that you can see it on your screen, and you can take a screenshot of it and begin to ask yourself these questions. Let's see here. Okay, it's not gonna let me put it as a full banner because I think it's too many words. So, all right, give me 1 second, you guys. I am going to screenshot this, and then I'm going to put it up on a screen for you guys so that you can see it. So I want you guys to get these questions. I want you to begin to do the work within yourself. So telling you, it's really going to bless you. It's really going to help you in your progress, because I'm telling you, if you don't do the work within yourself, again, you can't blame nobody but yourself. Goodness, it does not want me to get you guys these questions. Okay, try this one more time. But also, why I'm doing this, it's not going to let me put it up, you guys. I do apologize. But for those of you that are on Facebook, especially on my main page, it is there. I will make sure that I put it up on all the other pages in the comments so that you see it. But in the meantime, you all know that are aware that I am preparing for missions. So with that being said, I don't know why it's not allowing me to put up anything up on the screen right now. This is really, really odd. But okay, I don't know if you guys can see it. So it says that it's showing, but I'm not seeing it. Okay, there it is. I see it up on the screen now. So if you notice on the screen, it says partner with me. I am preparing for missions for this year, 2022, and I have actually 3 trips in 5 different countries that I'm preparing for. So I really need your help and your partnership by sowing any seed if possible, to the mission efforts of what it is that God is having me to do in the earth. This is a part of my purpose. And again, this is something that I do that I don't get paid for. I pay out more to do the traveling and paying for lodging and all that, and to get around and all that, more than anything. And it's not something that I get anything back in return outside of what God blesses me with in that regard. But whatever that you're able to sow helps in those efforts to do the work that God has given to be over there. You know, we go to different orphanages, schools, hospitals. We do leadership conferences, crusades, and go out and minister to the people, evangelism and things of that sort. And again, your seed helps, or your partnership helps us to accomplish that goal and that objective. And so if you can partner with me in that regard to help me execute this vision for this year, I would greatly appreciate it. No seed is too large or too small, but whatever you can do to assist or help is really going to be a tremendous blessing. So you see the Cash App details and the PayPal information is listed right there on your screen. For those of you that are listening and watching on the replay, you see the Cash App above, but you can also see the giving details in my bio description here on Clubhouse. For those of you that are on the other mediums, you can see the details right there on your screen. And like I said, anything that you can assist in will be of a major blessing to help execute this assignment. I am scheduled to leave in the next few months, and I am nowhere near my goal at all, to be honest with you. But as I've always trusted God, and God has always made a way in that regard. So, but again, you partnering with me helps me to be able to execute the assignment that God has given me in that regard. So again, if you're able to assist, I would greatly appreciate it. So we're going to go ahead and end the room. Thank you all so much for being a support to this room on Fridays at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. The PHWD Challenge Room, Purpose, Health, and Wealth Decade Challenge. And come back next week. We're going to dive more into this book. We're going to give some examples of some of the work that we've done by going through these questions and really analyzing ourselves and look at where our hindrances are and what's stopping us from having a millionaire mind, having a purpose-filled mind, having a healthier mindset to apply that to our physical bodies. And we're going to begin to see the things that is causing stagnation or causing blockage or limiting us from getting to our fullness of our purpose, fullness of our health, and fullness in our wealth. And it's really going to be a blessing to us. So, but thank you all so very much for tuning in. And as the songwriter says, don't give up. We're not giving up in this season. We're not throwing in the towel. We're going to keep going strong. We're going to keep holding on. We're going to be and do and accomplish everything that God wants us to be and to accomplish in the earth. And I'm really excited about what God is doing. So let's go. Let's get it. Let's make it happen.
Don't throw in the towel. Don't give up on yourself. It's too late in the hour. You gotta keep moving. You gotta keep pushing. You gotta keep walking. You gotta keep running. Don't give up. Don't you give up. No, this is not given to the swift or strong, but you gotta endure. You got to endure. Don't give up. Don't give up. The race is not given to the swift, the strong, but you gotta endure. Don't be led by your senses, what you hear, see, or feel. With the fixed determination, your dreams will reveal. And no more negative thoughts about yourself. Envision positive images. Don't give up. Don't give up. Don't give up. You gotta keep holding on. To the swift, the strong, but you gotta endure. Don't give up. Don't give up. The race is not given. The race is not given. You're strong, but you got